Hi friends, welcome back to another session of the topic friction. In this session, we are discussing about factor affecting the friction, fluid friction, and factors affecting the fluid friction. First, what are the factors affecting the friction? First, nature of the surface. We can discuss how the nature of the surface affects the friction. Nature of the surface is one of the factors affecting the friction. When an object moves on the surface, a force has to apply to overcome the interlocking of the surface. Friction depends on the nature of two surfaces. It depends on smoothness or roughness of the two surfaces which are in contact with each other. That means if the two surfaces are smooth, then the friction will be less. Or if these two surfaces are rough, then there is a more friction. So to overcome more friction, we need some more force. So frictional force depends on the nature of the surface which are in contact with each other. See, when two surfaces in contact are smooth, then the friction between them is small because interlocking of smooth surfaces is less. See the two wooden objects which are at rest. The surface irregularities are less. That means if they are smooth surfaces, those friction will be less. If it involved in rough surfaces have large number of irregularities, hence there is a large frictional force. Hence rough surface gives more frictional than that of relatively smooth surface. Nature of the surface means if the two surfaces are smooth, then there will be a less friction. If the two surfaces are sour, if the two surfaces are rough, then there will be a large friction. So this is the nature of the surface. And weight of the object. We already know that greater the weight of an object, greater will be the frictional between the object and the surface on which the object is kept. The frictional force depends on the weight of the object. Greater the weight of the object experiences greater friction than the small weight of the object. See the two images. In the image first, the boy pushes a ball, large ball, and in the second image, the boy pushes the small ball. The boy in the second image pushes the ball in faster rate when compared to the boy in the first image because there is less weight in the second ball than the first ball. So the friction experienced by the second ball is small when compared to the first ball. See how they are pushing the ball. So the friction depends on the weight of the object. Next, fluid friction. The frictional force experienced by a body when it is moving through fluids called fluid friction. That means the frictional force experienced by a body when it is moving through fluids is called fluid friction. In science, common name for gases and liquids is fluid. That means fluid is the combination of gases and liquids. The fluid friction is also called drag. The frictional force exerted by fluids is also called drag. Some example for fluid friction is a ship sailing on a water, a person swimming in a water, a plane flying through the air because fluid includes both gases and liquids. So the plane flying through the air is an example for fluid friction. Okay, see some images. A ship in water, a man with parachute in air, a swimmer swimming in water, a aeroplane in air. Next, what are the factors affecting the fluid friction? The main factors affecting the fluid friction is shape of the object and the speed of the object and some other factors, etc. Shape of the object. Do you think why the shape of the birds, aeroplane and fishes are almost similar? See the shape of the aeroplane, the shape of the bird are why similar? Think. Objects such as aeroplanes, submarines are given as a streamlined shape to minimize the fluid friction. See the shape of the submarines, fishes, aeroplanes and bird. They are given in the shape of streamlined shape to minimize the fluid friction or air friction. Okay, did you get the concept? The body of the submarines, aeroplanes are designed to overcome the fluid friction in the shape of streamlined shape. Nature of a fluid. Nature of the fluid is the another factor which affects the fluid friction. A given object experiences a different amount of friction in different fluids. An object moving certain speed experiences greater friction in water than that of experienced in air. For example, a boat moving through the water experiences greater friction than the bird flying through the air. That means if we compare to the liquids, the viscosity plays a main role in the nature of fluids. So an object moving greater or with experiences greater friction in water when compared to the air. Next, speed of the object. Friction and speed are directly proportional to each other. Why? Because on increasing the speed, the fluid friction or drag, remember fluid friction is also called drag, increases proportionally. Increases proportionally means as the speed increases, the friction also increases. For example, if the object is broad, it gives more area for the friction to act on. Thus, streamlined body structure helps to cut through the fluids and reduce friction. For example, if the aeroplane is designed in the shape of the bus, it experiences more friction when compared to the streamlined body of the aeroplane because it has more area, so more friction act on the aeroplane. So to minimize the friction or fluid friction, the aeroplane is designed in the shape of streamlined body structure. Okay, are you following? So streamlined body of the aeroplane or fishes or submarines helps to reduce the fluid friction. For example, an aeroplane flying at the highest speed of 1000 km per hour will face greater friction force or drag in air than the another similar aeroplane which is flying at the speed of 6000 km in air. That means the aeroplane which is flying at the 1000 km per hour which experiences more friction than the aeroplane flying at the 600 km per hour in air. So the aeroplane is body is designed in the shape of streamlined body to minimize the fluid friction. So these are some factors which affects the fluid friction. Okay students, I hope did you get the concept. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe and share as fast as possible. Thank you.